Many people think that plant-based eating is hard, expensive, or boring, but it's actually the easiest it's ever been. And I've got 5 quick points to show you why. And while I do, in the background, I'll be making a Mediterranean bowl of goodness with sun-dried tomato and sweet corn fritters and some herby tofu. The first reason I think eating plant-based is easier than ever is the massive range of products available, from alternative meat and dairy products to pre-cooked grains and sauces. There is so much out there. Just today, for example, I picked up some plant-based chicken, some plant-based steaks, pre-cooked pea lentils, and some pre-cooked quinoa, which are going to be really handy when I'm not in the mood for cooking. And if we have a quick look on Tesco's, there are literally never-ending plant-based alternatives, from ham to chicken, there's bacon, there's burgers, meatballs, so there really is no excuse to not switch from meat products to plant-based ones, and that's coming from someone who used to eat a lot of meat and fish products. Now, I am an advocate for eating mostly whole foods, but occasionally I crave something a little bit meaty, so something like marble steaks or some fake chicken really hits the spot without having to make any animal sacrifices. And despite being a chef, I don't always want to cook, especially after a full day of cooking at work, so using these meat alternatives which don't take any sort of pre-preparation really saves a lot of time. Another type of product on the rise is these pre-cooked grains, sauces and such alike, which are delicious, they're nutritious, especially when compared to a takeaway, which you might go for when you don't have much time. So compared to even just 5 years ago, the selection of plant-based products is vast and growing by the day. Making a switch to a plant-based diet is considerably easier when you've got some alternatives to your previous favorites, whether that's steak, chicken, burgers. They're really easy to find now. I will admit that vegan cheese hasn't quite hit the spot, but there are some good, more premium products out there, and there's also some really good recipes online. And while we're on the topic of products, I've also noticed that the labeling is getting better, making it easier to find plant-based products. Next up is the cost of a plant-based diet. In high-income countries, plant-based diets were the most affordable and reduced food costs by up to 1/3. This study focused on whole foods, so if you did want to include some of those plant-based meat alternatives, then that would increase the cost just a little bit. But compared to buying meat and dairy, you're still going to be saving a lot of money. Meat, fish, and dairy prices have been rising significantly in recent years for various reasons, one being the outbreak of bird flu, leading to the culling of birds, and this also affects the cost of other meat products as people switch to these ones, thus driving up the costs. Moral of the story is go plant-based, stop bird flu, and save money, so everyone's winning. And another bonus reason for why eating plant-based is becoming easier than ever is these new sort of plant-based meal kits. One of the biggest barriers, in my opinion, to eating plant-based used to be the planning what to cook, how to make it tasty, and sort of tracking down those obscure ingredients. But now with these meal kits and ready-to-eat delivery services, that really takes away that barrier. They come with pre-prepared ingredients and really easy recipes, although the one thing I don't like about them is that they tend to come with a lot of plastic, single-use plastic, which is not so good, and they can be quite expensive. The next reason that going plant-based is easier than ever is the incredible amount of nutrition and recipe information online. The amount of information both in regards to plant-based nutrition and cooking techniques has blown up in the last few years. It's so easy to find a highly qualified nutrition expert giving incredible advice on eating a balanced plant-based diet now. I'll admit there's almost too many people offering their nutritional advice online now, and it can get confusing. A lot of them are also talking absolute rubbish, but I find it's generally easy to spot them because they'll say things like don't eat this or this one food is killing you. I'd recommend just finding a few people that you've researched and you think are credible sources rather than just getting random bits of nutritional advice from people off Instagram. So as well as nutritional information, the internet is also a never-ending source of recipes and cooking tutorials. Of course, starting with my channel for recipes that have been tested and always taste delicious is always a good idea, not to toot my own horn. My suggestion when looking at recipes online is to have your calendar at hand and then write down the day that you're going to cook something. Otherwise, you'll save it and then you'll literally never cook it. I literally do this all the time. Also, the great thing about the internet is you can find people from all around the world who are masters in cooking their own cuisine, and you can just learn so much from them. I just want to quickly interrupt myself and ask that if you are enjoying my videos and want to support me in creating them, then please do take a look at my Patreon page. You can get recipe PDFs, early access to videos, and other fun benefits. Also, the more Earthy Goodness patrons we have, the less likely I am to take on brand sponsors. Another quick point is that restaurants and cafes are increasing their plant-based options. You can use an app like Happy Cow to find plant-based restaurants and places with different plant-based options. A lot of restaurants now will even have an entirely plant-based separate menu. For example, if we have a quick look at London on the app, you can see there are so many vegan restaurants and just restaurants that have vegan options. You can then have a look at the ratings and find the perfect place to get some lunch or dinner. This app is also really useful when you're on holiday. For example, in Italy, where plant-based options aren't quite as plentiful, you can easily find somewhere offering plant-based options. You can also read people's reviews, which is handy for finding out the best options on the menu. So another reason that eating plant-based is easier than ever is that you can find a community online to support you. One problem you might have had when switching to a plant-based diet or becoming a vegan is a sense of being alone on your journey. However, these days it's so easy to find a supportive community, such as on my channel, to keep you motivated and inspired to stay on your new path. I also find that Facebook generally has some good groups. For example, in Bristol, there's a vegan runners one. So if you're looking for some more community and support on your journey, going vegan or plant-based, then be sure to check out these sort of Facebook groups for your city. Now, this video was only meant to be 5 points, but I've just had another idea for why eating plant-based is becoming easier than ever, and that is that celebrities are helping to normalize it. Whether that's pro athletes or singers sharing their plant-based lifestyles, it's helping it become more mainstream and aspirational, rather than something that only crazy healthy people do. I believe Lewis Hamilton is plant-based, and I think even Arnold Schwarzenegger is mostly plant-based now, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, I think that is definitely a good thing. My last reason is more of a general point, and it's less about sort of why it's easier now compared to before. And that is that it just sort of, in my opinion, just feels right to eat plant-based. And what I mean by that is that eating a plant-based diet doesn't just make you feel good in your body, but also, in my opinion, in your mind. I find it really helps in giving you a more clear conscience almost, as when I was eating meat, it started to not quite feel morally justifiable. The amount of suffering it caused really didn't sit well with me, and that was a good thing because it was waking me up to the reality of the impact your diet has on both animals, the environment, and even other people. Someone, of course, has to kill and butcher these animals, and I was essentially paying for that. Of course, a plant-based diet doesn't come without its problems. For example, a lot of fruit and veg is grown by modern-day slaves, such as in Spain and Mexico, which is really quite disturbing. But at least I can make a choice to buy more ethical vegetables, for example, from my brother's market garden here in Bristol. My brother's market garden is a lovely community farm, helping tackle food insecurity, getting people into nature, and it's just a lovely place to spend your day in Bristol. Thank you for watching today's video. Please do let me know if you think it's easier than ever to eat a plant-based diet, and if you want some more recipe inspiration, then be sure to check out the videos on my channel. Bye-bye.